Do you think we're the only type of humans in the world right now? And to get a
I,
little deeper on that, I was watching a podcast where they were saying humans are so, I don't want to say ignorant, but we're so full of ourselves. I feel like we're like the only type of species out there
oh,
that
we're
is
very,
ourselves.
very egotistical.
Whereas you said before, like there's different types of ants, there's different types of mammals, sharks, dogs. There's always a different lineage out there. So what makes us think we're so different and that there's not different forms of us out there?
Well, I mean, theoretically, there is different forms, right? I mean, there's different nationalities, and I mean, people's genetic makeup is different, right? We're all humanoids, right? But like we all look very different. I mean, individuals with certain genomes are going to have more similarities than others. Although they say that we all trace our genomes back to Central Africa, right? Is it Central or West Africa or something? Uh, is where they believe like all human life originated. Um, and you have the biblical version of the story of the Tower of Babel, which honestly kind of goes back to that conversation of ancient Egypt, is nobody really knows where this Tower of Babel was or what it looked like, right?
Hold on, okay. You bring up so many different things. The reason I brought that up is because the conversation I was hearing on YouTube, they was talking about what they think aliens look like, whether it's like gray people, whether it's reptiles, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah,
And one of the guys was just saying, he was just like, y'all are giving like this alien theory too much power. He was like, there
I
might just
agree.
be different life forms of humans out there that you might not be aware of yet.
Honestly, I think that the alien idea is a lack of creativity.
Mm. I had one friend that said, aliens are really just angels and demons.
Certainly could be. I think that there's I think the bigger question is not is there more than one mankind, but is there more than one dimension that is living and operating in our midst?
Well, they said it's so crazy now because there's always been a saying that says movie in Hollywood, if they start showing a certain type of genre or a certain type of movie, that means it's already been done before, or they're like on to the next plan. So you know how nowadays with superhero movies, it's all about different reality, different dimensions.
Yeah.
Everything
Oh.
on TV is about that. And it's almost like are they really trying to just let us know like, hey, there are different dimensions out there,
Yeah,
or
I mean, there's also no originality in Hollywood, but yeah, I mean, I think that we should probably pay a little bit more attention to the movies that come out.
exactly 'cause they were saying like honestly, the people who are controlling the future, they already probably 30, 50 years in advance already planning
Yeah,
things out. Like they're not going over, oh, what we're going to do tomorrow or next week. They're thinking
yeah.
like decades, centuries in
Well,
advance.
I remember watching that movie, Children of Men. I saw it years ago when it came out. Like that's a weird ass movie, and I watched it recently. I was like, oh, it's not that weird.
You say
Like
it's not that
it's not
weird?
that weird.
Oh
Like
yeah.
like time and perspective. Like you have all these studies that are coming out right now about, of course now, um, all those crazy people that said like maybe you should do a little bit more research on the COVID vaccine before you threaten people's jobs and livelihood and the threat of taking it, putting people in jail. But now there's all these studies coming out, not just about the mitochondria with the heart, but with infertility in women and miscarriages and menstrual cycles that are just whacked. And there's these fears that like we won't know the true result of this for maybe years to come. But is there going to be an entire generation of children that just like we're already seeing right now the lowest birth rates in human history, like in recorded human history, like the lowest incline of population growth.
There was just a recall for some like strawberry soda at Kroger's because I think it came back saying that it would like reduces men infertility.
Yeah,
It's like there's some big callback for it.
don't even start on the food supply, but like you have these this vaccine that's not tested. Well, they do some testing, they get the results, they get a judge essentially to agree to not release the results of the study for 75 years. That makes you feel safe. And now there's all these these doctors coming out saying, yes, like we're seeing blood clots, we're seeing heart issues, and we're seeing infertility. So now you have this movie where it's like set in the not so distant future where people just stop having babies. And like, and there hasn't been a baby in like 10 years.
Remember that Nestle documentary I sent you?
Oh yeah.
About how pretty much they made all this baby formula that wasn't good for babies, but they paid off all the doctors and be like, hey, this is good for your family. It help you grow strong bones.
Yeah.
But literally it had everything in it to pretty much hurt your child.
Well, the government said it's good.